episode number 100 of the AM Club podcast. Austin here is looking dapper and fresh as he came out of the womb, just suited up, ready for business.
Aren't we always?
Hey, be professional. Shout out to probably one of the first podcasts. I don't even remember the number.
Yeah. But
if we told you all the past 72 hours, it's not even 72 yet, it would be 69. The past 69 hours have been ridiculous. Y'all wouldn't believe the story, and maybe one day we'll tell it. If we even remember it at that point.
Yeah.
But we have founded one of our new companies. It is a luxury cigar brand by the name of Mayfiend. If you'd like to see.
Show them the logo.
Mayfiend.
Look at that logo, man.
Nice and clean. And we're not going to bore y'all to death, and we're not going to plug it at this point in time. If at any point in time you're curious, go ahead and Google Mayfiend. We're still building the website because we have been traveling internationally, assembling our global supply chain. That being said, a lot of adventures have been had in the past 3 weeks, including particularly the last 69 hours. So that being said, we are going to absolutely riff this episode of the podcast because we're still running around and doing a whole bunch of things. So let's see what we got.
All right. So we can, try to find something that we've encountered along the way in these last 72 hours that we can touch on. And I feel like we've encountered a lot and experienced a lot in those last 72 hours. One of the main things that I feel like we have experienced was getting a good sense of how mature and advanced our business acumen was. You're not really, I would say you're not able to tell how good or how bad you are at something until you get in this situation of reality. You don't know how well that you can shoot a basketball until you get in the game and do it in front of a crowd of people, right? So, over the last 72 hours, we thought that we had a good business sense. And in my opinion, we realized that we may even have a great business sense when it comes to certain things. And one of the things that we encountered was knowing how to leverage your network and knowing how other people may leverage their network. So once you get to a certain point, your network could be a way that you could make money, potentially. People could leverage their network and be very successful due to leveraging their network. So we've always talked to you about, networking. But you also have to know, in my opinion, sometimes who not to network with. So, Jose, what are some signs of someone that you may not want to associate yourself with when it comes to business and when it comes to life in general? Because I feel like we met someone where we may not want to associate ourselves with in any form, in any capacity. So can you kind of put them on game on how we were able to kind of get to the point of making that decision of, hey, we don't want to associate with this person?
Absolutely. I think the first way to identify an individual that you would rather not associate with, whether it be personal, business, financial, it doesn't matter, is a person that people don't like. More specifically, if that person themselves says something around the lines of, yes, people don't like me because I tell the truth. That is a ginormous red flag. Somebody who actually understands that people don't like them and their assumption is that it's because they tell the truth is actually unaware of the reason why people don't like them. It's not because they don't tell the truth or because they tell the truth. It's because they're harsh, they're crass, and they pass the line beyond acceptable means by which to provide feedback. Another indicator of a person that you don't want to associate with is very simple. What are they after? What do they gain from being with you? For 1 second, ask yourself, what, from their perspective, do they seek to gain from me? Rather than us looking at what they have to offer, us and how we're getting an advantage. It could be money, it could be network, it could be some acumen, it could be an introduction to an event that you would benefit from. But most of the time, these individuals are conniving and they're seeking something in return. And something that they don't state in return, which is a segue into a third point that I would like to make. If you are looking to work with somebody, whether it be business, projects, or anything that will require or grant some sort of return, whether that be monetarily or, let's say, fame-wise or attention-wise, you have to be very clear with what they are looking for. An example might be, how would you like to be compensated for helping us grow our network? If they can't respond, it's very simple. They're waiting for the right moment to ensnare you in a trap, close it, and then screw you over. It's very much like a pyramid scheme. Anybody who has to expedite the process of whatever they're trying to do, anybody who can't tell you details in specific, anybody who is pushing you and pushing you and pushing you, anybody who is contradicting their words or their actions contradict their words, anybody who can't make a concise statement, and let me be very clear here too, anybody who fails to acknowledge you as a person. If they're only after money, it's up to you. If you want to associate with these people, you're welcome to. But my recommendation is be mindful of people who are only looking for a return, specifically when it comes to money, because those people will burn you. And most of them are pieces of shit.
So I might have a very pessimistic view of this. However, I would say 99% of people are trying to fuck you. Now, for some of you, you can be like, "Oh, wait, what? I'm attractive?" No, I'm not saying that. Because
you might be.
Yeah, you might be. Never mind. But I do believe that when you're, especially in this realm of business, and say you have a good idea, if someone is trying to rush you into making hasty decisions, not well planned, not well thought out decisions, they're trying to impress you quickly with the glitz and the glamour and money and names and brands and whatnot, and just throw it in your face and say, "Hey, look, let's talk some compensation." Not too far after that, they're trying to fuck you. And when I say that, I mean they're trying to finesse, they're trying to get something out of you. And again, you will encounter this probably more often than not, because not everybody has a strong sense of morality. And in this business, in business in general, morality for some people, though they may say that they have a strong sense of it, you can tell by their actions that that's not the case. And you want to know the main way that you can tell if someone is going to fuck you or not? Pay attention to their actions. Because we encountered this one particular person who would say a lot of things. Sometimes he would say, good shit, very good shit, sometimes not. But when you saw how they acted, when you saw what they actually did, when you saw how they went about doing things as opposed to what they said, you could tell, it's not lining up. And one thing that I feel like for us is very apparent. If we say that we're going to do something, we do it. And not only do we do it, we probably do it within the next fucking 30 minutes. And that's pushing it. Because we're not just talkers. We're not just fast talkers, slick talkers, whatever. We're people of action. And our actions match our words. And for a lot of people, you want to put them to the test. You want to see how much about it they are. Get them to act on what they talk about. Because 9 times out of 10, people will talk a good game. But when it's time for them to step in the game, they're not going to actually do the things that they said that they were going to do. And we also encountered this as well. You have to be aware of the people who gatekeep. Because that is a big thing when it comes to business and entrepreneurship. People like to gatekeep their resources, right? And Jose and I were never people that were like that. We're never people that like, oh, we have some form of information, and even if I like you or fuck with you, I'm just not going to tell you about this. No. Even if it's some information that you may benefit from knowing, and you may make some money, doing it, and potentially, have some customers and clients that are in line with ours. If you're a good guy and you seem like you need some help and we want to help you, we'll do it. However, there are some people out there that like to protect everything that they think that they have built, or that they think that they have grown a network around. And to me, I feel like that comes from a strong place of insecurity. Because if you truly want someone to succeed and you truly want what's best for them, you would be 100% okay with not being a part of it, not being in it. If I said, hey, Jose, I can put you on a TV show, but I gotta be in it. You don't really want what's best for Jose. I don't really want what's best for Jose. I want what's best for me. Because if I really wanted what's best for Jose, I would want Jose to shine himself. And I don't even have to be anywhere near it. Because I really want what's best for Jose. I don't give a fuck about what I feel and what I want in this particular situation. What is best for Jose? So if you gatekeep, and if you know someone who gatekeeps and has this kind of mentality when it comes to things, they truly don't want what's best for you, because they don't want you to be over or to beat them. They're scared of that. Because what is really the reason why you would be so apprehensive to say, hey, go talk to him, instead of saying, you sit right here, I'll go talk to him? Why wouldn't you want Jose and I to go talk to that person directly? Why do you have to broker this?
Well, it's not even brokering at that point.
Exactly.
Because broker, you can still talk directly to the client or to whoever you're speaking to. When you essentially cut off all communication channels, that's no longer brokering. That's a separate deal entirely. And be mindful, it doesn't stop at the individual. It's usually in groups. So if you encounter one individual who gatekeeps, it's usually everybody who's in on the circus of bullshit, meaning everybody has an accustomed practice where it's not brokering, it's controlling who gets in where. Now, I'm not saying that shouldn't exist. We, for starters, don't partake in that, nor will we ever partake in that. Exclusivity is something that is very poorly understood. That's not exclusivity. That's the application of exclusion. And there's a difference. Exclusivity means something's difficult to get into and sought after. excluding people is saying, no, you're not allowed. Let's separate this room from this room. No, you're not allowed. A VIP section is exclusive. Yes. However, say you live in a building like this and they say, oh, if you have this occupation, you're not allowed to live here. If you don't know this group, you're not allowed to live here. If you don't do this, you're not allowed to live here. It's a fine line, and I don't know if I accurately or portrayed it perfectly.
I think you did.
If you know a better way to explain it, please leave it below in the comment section. I'd be more than happy to learn from anybody who is competent enough to explain these things. But it's very funny that these people think they have control and they seek control. Now, being detailed is not the same as being controlling. A lot of people think that just because you are meticulous in what you do, that you're a controlling individual. No, that's an entirely different beast. And when I say that when you encounter somebody like this, they're very good at masking their intentions. They're very, very, very not alluring, but what they're saying is attractive. They're saying the right things. They're behaving in the right manner. But slowly, as time passes, you start seeing the faults in their actions and the gaps in the words and all the small things in between. If you let them play tic-tac-toe long enough, they'll make their own mistakes. And that is how you defeat somebody like this. Let them keep talking. Don't say yes. Don't say no. Watch them. Watch them. And you'll see they're just crawling in a circle over and over and over and over again. And that's why I'm saying give it time. If you can't identify the pattern from the get-go, just keep watching it. Don't say yes. Don't say no. Let time tell. Because it's like they say, you can never get away with a true lie. Or you can never truly get away with a lie. Because eventually, you won't be able to keep up with it. If I said I was a millionaire, you'd quickly find out that I'm not. Because there's only so many things that you can fake in this world. And being genuine is something you can't truly fake. Long enough time span, long enough time horizon, all frauds will be found out.
And you know how you can identify a fraud from the real thing if they're willing to teach you how to fish as opposed to saying, hey, let me fish for you. So we encountered two opposing kind of stances here. Two opposing people. And when I say opposing, differing. So I'll just say differing people. Completely different, opposite sides of the spectrum, right? One was saying, hey, I'll fish for you. Don't worry about it. And, whenever you do well, I'll just make my cut. I'll just take my cut at the end. Don't worry about it. Oh, you want to do that yourself? No. You don't talk to them. I got it. It's okay. I got it. And at the end, I'll just take my cut. It's cool. I don't have to worry about anything right now. I just take my cut at the end. Cool, right? You need anything? Yeah, cool. I'll handle it. Then there's someone else that says, okay, you need some money. I'm not going to give you money. I can show you how to get the money yourself. And when you do this way, you won't have to use your own money. You can go get it from someone else or another entity, use their money, and then you can do X, Y, and Z. And that's how I started. Now, initially, lazy entrepreneurs, the ones that will eventually fail, will hear the first option and say, I like that. I don't have to do too much. There's a guy that's willing to do all this networking shit for me. I don't even like to talk to people, If he's willing to do it, sure. And I'll just give him a little cut at the end. It's fine. It's cool. Now, that sounds like a lot easier, right? However, let's think a little long term. If you partner with this person and they say, I want 30%. 30% of what? 30% of whatever you make. At the time, if you're a lazy entrepreneur and if you're not truly invested and you don't truly believe in your product and whatever you're selling or whatever you're trying to sell, you might say, I still have 70% left. And if he really connects me with the people that I think he can connect me with, then, sure, why not? If I'm just super, super rich, 30% is not that bad that he can take that. I'll have 70%. That's fine. But here's the thing. Say if someone makes 30% of whatever you make, right? And you don't blow up like you thought. That person's getting paid regardless. No matter how hard you work, that person's getting a chunk out of your shit no matter what. Now, he's made something basically from just connecting you and, putting you here, putting you there. Not really any hard work. You're putting in a lot of work and you're not seeing the actual fruits of your labor. And say that you got, some profit here and there, but not too much of it. That person's getting the chunk regardless. You might be barely breaking even or barely getting over that. You make 70%, say you make $100 profit. They're getting that 30. You're getting 70. You're trying to go for thousands, hundreds of thousands. You're not really making much. So if you're not really making much already, then you have somebody taking a chunk out of what the fuck you're making, which isn't that much. That's money that you could be spending elsewhere, that you would need elsewhere, that they're taking a chunk out of for basically doing nothing. All because it sounded good. It sounded like they could help you. But no matter how good they do, or no matter what position they put you in, they're going to make money regardless. It's not based off of actually results or actual results. It's based off of, hey, I signed this. We have this agreement. I'll try to do my best to help you. And I'm getting this 30% regardless. What if none of their networking, capabilities pan out? So they're just getting 30% over some bullshit. Fuck no. What you should do is option B. It sounds harder. It sounds harder because you actually have to sit there and take the time to learn. Sit there and bump your head a couple times and have shit not work out. Because knowing how to fish or learning how to fish isn't going to be something that you pick up the first time. You're going to cast your line out there, and maybe sometimes there may not be any fish that, go after your bait. And there may be some, and as you try to reel them in, they fall off. You're learning. That person still taught you. They're teaching you how to do it, but you're not going to instantaneously hit the ground running every single time. So that may sound like a worse option. However, once you learn how to fish for yourself, and you eventually will learn, the more you keep at it, you'll be able to retain all of the fish that you keep or all the fish that you reel in for yourself. Now that you know how to do it yourself, you're not relying on someone else. You're not relying on Johnny to fish for you. You know how to fish, and you keep all the fish that you catch. You don't have to divvy it off to somebody who is not even helping you fish. They're just saying, hey, look, I'll take you to the pond. Or I know where the pond is. It's over there. Go over there. To me, that's not much of help. Because if you really know how to fish, you are the main person who wins in the end and who is able not only to get fish for yourself, but help others get fish. You can feed others that way. But if you're relying on someone else to fish for you, it's harder for you to spread that. It's harder for you to pass it down to someone else because you're divvying it off with this person who's fishing for you. So this is something that we experienced, is something that we went through, where someone was trying to fish for us and didn't want us to fish. They didn't even want us to touch the fucking reel. And we said, you know what? No. We want to know how to fish for ourselves. And this person didn't like that. Now, why wouldn't they like that? If they were truly about what they were saying they're about and empowering, people of color, young men of color, trying to help them, they would want that. They would want someone to be like, oh, have the gusto to be able to go up to someone of power and talk to them themselves. They would want that, right?
Yep.
Why didn't he want that? If you're really what you said you were about, you would want that. That's interesting. How the words and actions don't align. And that's how you tell who you can get into business with and who you shouldn't get into business with. Because some people want to see you succeed, whether they're there or not. Some people like to see you fish, whether they're the one catching it or not. Then there's other people that only want to see you win if they have something to do with it. And if they get their cut.
They're out to the cash and that's it. Watch your six.
Watch your fucking six. And if you have a brother or a sister or someone to go through this shit with you that can watch your six for you, this will make things easier. Because say if Jose wasn't there, if I weren't there, and we saw this happening, and we were in worse financial straits that we are now, not saying we're in just shit financial straits, but we're in worse situations than what we are now, we may be forced or pushed into a situation where we accept this guy's offer. Now, us, probably not. But people, if they don't have someone to check them or someone to bounce ideas off of, could potentially find themselves in a situation where they make that decision. Then you're fucked. So having Jose here and him having me here, we're able to watch each other's sixes when it comes to shit like that. And we're able to avoid the sharks, identify the sharks, identify the barracudas, the piranhas, and whatnot. But we're also able, because of that same thing, we're able to identify the whales. The ones who are just out there minding their business, hugely successful, holds their own. However, the shark knows how to talk a good game, more alluring. So if you have someone to watch your six, you're able to identify these little organisms, these beings, these people out here trying to finesse and trying to finagle, but you're also able to see who's good and who you should partner with. And that has been a big thing for us and something that we've encountered and something that we believe truly, because we chose correctly, in my opinion, that will pay dividends for years and years to come.
The AM Club Podcast.
Signing out.
Mic check. The AM Club Podcast.